Hey everyone, Righteous Forest here. Now, I'm recording the audio for this episode after I recorded the game footage simply because I wanted to record at night for a few reasons I'll explain in a second, but I was really tired and I didn't feel like I'd be able to do good dialogue. So, I'm recording it the following morning. Now, what I'm doing right now is back to Sprout Tower to try to get that Ghastly that I mentioned before. So, the reason I'm getting it now is the next area begins to lead me away from Violet City, and I might not be back for a while. So, I thought now would be a good time to get it. Also, in the next area, there's certain Pokemon that you could only get in the day that I did not want to risk getting. So that's another reason that I'm recording at night. Now, I'm lucky. I don't have to wait long, get my Ghastly first encounter. So, now, this part's not particularly interesting, just a drawn out trying to catch a Ghastly fight. So, I'll explain where I'll be going from here. I'll be going to what I believe is Route 32. Off the top of my head, I remember that the encounters are Ekans, Wooper, Mareep, and then Zubat at night and Hoppip during the day. And I really, really didn't want to Hoppip. The reason for this is that I already have two flying types, being Sage and Prince, and I'll have a third once Togepi hatches if I choose to evolve it. And I already have a grass type, Pepper, as you see. So I didn't think Hoppip would contribute much to the team, especially since Hoppip is very weak, and it primarily just sets up status, which is a good thing in a Nuzlocke, but the usefulness that a Mareep or a Wooper would have is so much greater that I'd prefer to increase my chances of getting one of those. Now, off screen, I didn't do any training. I walked around, picked up all the berries that from the trees I have access to right now, just to get some more steps onto the Togepi egg, and I just walked around a bit. But I felt like it might be getting close to hatch, so I decided that from this point on, I'll just let it hatch when it does. Afterwards, I'm probably not going to use the Togepi anyway, but I figured it would be best to hatch it as soon as possible. And if you don't know, once you hatch the Togepi, if you bring the Togepi to Professor Elm, he'll give you an Everstone. And although I probably won't wind up using an Everstone, it's not bad to have just in case. Now, deciding on the nickname for my Ghastly. Now, I originally wanted to name my Ghastly Grape after Ghastly that I named in my first playthrough of Pokemon Platinum forever ago. And I decided that grape leads to wine, alcoholic beverage, kind of like rum, and red rum is, of course, murder backwards, which fits a ghost. So I name it Red Rum. I probably won't be using this Ghastly anytime soon, but you never know. There's a good chance that I'll take him out when I head to fight Whitney. So, the next area, Ekans, Mareep, and Wooper. I really don't want an Ekans either because I already have a Zubat and a Bellsprout, both of which are poison types. Actually, during my Y Nuzlocke, I practically switched over to doing a Nuzlocke poison type run simply because almost every Pokemon I was catching was poison type. And I had Venusaur, I had a Seviper, I had a Skuntank, I had a Drapion, I had all of these poison types. I had a few more that I can't remember. And it was ridiculous, and I mean, they were all good, and they were all essentially holding my team together, but at the same time, that wasn't very much variety. So even though it was a good type defensively, and it did contribute a lot and make the battles against Ramus and, oh, what's her name? Valerie, go a bit easier. The next gym after that, which I'm on my way to right now on my wide Nuzlocke, is the Psychic type gym, which will not be good for my Poison type, especially since I just lost one of my Dark type Greninja. But I do have Drapion and Skuntank, both of which are immune to Psychic type attacks, so I'm pretty sure they'll carry me through. And the moment of truth, the Pokemon that I wound up getting an encounter with a Wooper. I was very happy about this because, on top of the fact that Wooper was what I wanted, because a water type is always great to have, but I really actually like Wooper and Quagsire, and I used them in almost all of my playthroughs of Pokemon Silver that I did back when I had my physical copy of the game before the internal battery ran dry. I actually wound up buying Silver 5 times from various used game retailers after the internal batteries ran dry, just to get more time out of the game, and I eventually just gave up. But Wooper is just something that's always been one of my favorites. It looks really silly, but it's surprisingly strong. It has a really good type combination, especially in a game like this that really is not very grass type heavy. Yes, in my Y Nuzlocke, for their poison types, I had a Crobat, a Haunter, and a Gulpin, and I feel like I had a couple more, but they died and I didn't record it. It was a bit ridiculous when 3/4 of your team knows Venoshock, including the Pokemon in your PC. It's just every move I was using. But it was actually a pretty interesting run. I'm still technically working on it. It's kind of on the back burner between this and the new Super Smash Brothers that I've been putting a lot of time into. Now I successfully capture the Wooper. Well, yeah, and it's a great addition to the team, and I welcome it happily. Now, this, I decided on the nickname actually relatively quickly. I decided on the nickname of Haribo, like the gummy bears, the world's best gummy bears, love them. But I wasn't sure how to spell it, so I actually went on a web browser and Googled it. And my initial guess to how to spell it was right, but I just wanted to be safe. And that's all for today, so I will see you next time for episode 8 as we take on Route 32.